Alors, bonsoir à tous. Merci de votre patience. C'est une journée extrêmement occupée. D'une part, on le sait, on est dans cette pandémie, dans cette deuxième vague. Et c'est pourquoi on débat aujourd'hui d'un projet de loi qui est aussi important, qui est là pour aider les Canadiens. Et il est au cœur, d'ailleurs, de ce que le gouvernement entend faire pour les Canadiens, et c'est pourquoi c'est un vote de confiance. So, good evening, everyone. Thanks for your patience. It's a busy day for all of us today, and we're debating an extremely important bill for the government, for Canadians. And it's at the heart of what we want to do to keep helping Canadians, and that is why it's a confidence vote. Merci.
We'll now take some questions, starting with a question on the phone. Quick reminder, one question, one follow-up maximum. Operator, do we have a question?
Please press star at this time if you have a question. S'il vous plaît, appuyez sur étoile maintenant pour poser une question. And the first question is from Joan Bryden with the Canadian Press. La parole est à vous.
Hi, Mr. Rodriguez. I'm just wondering that despite their objections to fast-tracking, are you expecting the Conservatives and the Bloc to vote for or against the bill itself?
Well, I hope that the vote in favor of this bill, they've been saying, oh, CERB has been going on too long, you have to transition. Well, we're transitioning. Now it's up to them to decide if they're going to support it or not. And if they don't, well, I'd like to hear the explanation.
Follow-up?
No, that's good, thanks.
Perfect. We'll switch to one question in the room before going back to the phone. Mackenzie?
Hi, Ms. Qualtrough. Mackenzie Gray with CTV News. Your party has struck a deal with the NDP to increase from 400 to 500 for CRB on a weekly basis, and you've extended the amount of people who'll be able to give the sickness benefit. Do you have an estimate on the new costs associated with this? I think it was $37 billion before. Is there a new number associated with it?
Thanks for the question. Of course, we don't know exactly how many people will be applying for these benefits, but I can give you some rough estimates. So in August, we gave a number of $37 billion. That included $8 billion for the 1 month extension of CERB in September. Right now, what we're estimating with the increase to the benefit floor, both on EI and for the Canada Recovery Benefit, the overall cost for these three benefits is $24 billion, plus an additional $10 billion for the changes to the EI system. Then, of course, we have the extra $17 billion that's embedded in the annex of Part 3 of the new legislation.
Can you just clarify?
Yeah. That didn't.
That was a lot of numbers. Do you want me to go through it again?
51 billion? So you're saying it's lower than what you
Well,
had in August?
no,
August included 17 billion.
Yeah, the $37 billion in August included changes to the EI system, one additional month of CERB, and the recovery benefit estimates. We've now had the additional month of CERB, so that $8 billion is not a cost associated with the new benefits. And we're saying $24 billion for the three benefits, plus an additional 10. So we're at 34 just for the EI changes and the benefits, which is more than if you took the 37 and took away the 8. Plus, there's an additional $17 billion of COVID-related spending built into the third part in the annex of the proposed legislation. So was that a little better? I apologize.
So it would have been $42 billion with the $8 billion from CERB, and now we can stick $17 billion on top of that, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So
it's additional $5 billion for the difference between what we estimated the recovery benefit would be in August to go to more people in the sickness benefit and a higher floor, plus $17 billion built into the annex of Part 3.
Okay, so my follow-up question for you, Ms. Qualtrough, is a lot of people are going off CERB now, and then they're going to be transitioning to the CRB if you're a gig worker or someone who doesn't have EI. What's the timeline like for Canadians to be able to get their $500 a week payment to make sure that they're able to pay their rent, groceries, all that kind of stuff?
Really important question. Thank you. So we anticipate what I'm calling a seamless transition between the benefit regimes, but what Canadians will feel is the 2 weeks from going from a benefit that pays somebody in advance to a benefit that pays 2 weeks in arrear. So whereas you could have made your first application at the beginning of October, you'll now apply mid-October for the first 2 weeks of October to parallel the EI system. So the systems themselves will seamlessly transition people, but there will be a two-week lapse in payment because we're going to model the EI system, pay people 2 weeks at a time, but in arrears. Mid-October, yes.
I will now check if we have one more question on the phone.
Once again, please press star 1 if you have questions. De nouveau, n'hésitez pas à appuyer sur étoile 1 pour toute question. There will be a brief pause while the participants queue for questions. And we do have a question from Mercedes Stevenson with Global News. Please go ahead.
Hi, Minister Qualtrough, and for Mr. Rodriguez as well. Are you at all concerned that the most important role of MPs to hold the government accountable for spending is being sidelined by rushing this legislation through instead of allowing it to go through its full debate process?
Thank you. Well, first, as you know, we're in the middle of this pandemic. Second, Kenyans need help, and we're going to deliver that help. They need it now. We're going to deliver it now. We made sure in our motion that all parties would be able to debate the motion. That's exactly what we're doing today. I would ask my friends from the Conservative Party why they took 2 hours to debate a motion plus an hour to vote on something that had nothing to do with COVID and that will do nothing for Canadians.
Follow-up?
With all due respect, Mr. Rodriguez, it doesn't answer the question of whether you're skirting the fundamental responsibilities of Parliament. I mean, your government prorogued. You knew when the benefit was going to go out. Now you're blaming the opposition parties when you're the ones who set the timeline on it.
Once again, the motion allows all the parties in the House to debate, which is going to happen hopefully, and parties will be able to participate and speak and ask questions, and that's absolutely fundamental. The same way that we put in place a system throughout the summer where the different parties could ask questions, and then they ask thousands of questions, way more, if we would have had normal sittings, normal QP. So for us, it's absolutely fundamental to strike a balance between the emergency of the situation and allowing MPs to play their role. It's fundamental, and we're trying to achieve that balance.
And last question will be in the room. David?
Yeah, hi there, Mr. Rodriguez. When the Prime Minister prorogued Parliament and promised a throne speech, he said it would be put to a vote of confidence in the House. Will that still happen even though you're going to have a vote of confidence tonight? Or if you win this one tonight, survive this one tonight, will that serve as the confidence vote that the Prime Minister promised?
There will be a vote of confidence on the throne speech.
Okay.
When debate is over. I mean, there's 6 days planned for debate on the throne speech, so depending on the calendar, the vote will happen right after.
And just to follow up, I'm not quite sure if either of you can answer this because it's outside your portfolio, but it could be legislative agenda and it's part of the COVID agenda. The rent program runs out at the end of the month. And there has been some suggestion from Minister Zing and others that maybe a new rent program might replace it to help commercial rent payers. Will we see something in this session of Parliament to help businesses meet their rents as cases start to go up and places get shut down in places like Quebec?
Well, we're well aware of the situation across the country, and more specifically the situation lived by our businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. We're very aware of that, and I can tell you that we're not going to let them down.
All the time we need. Thank you.